MC is a genius young footballer named Tsubasa Ozora, and to understand why his skills are so amazing, we have to start from his childhood. Little Tsubasa's father was a ship captain who was often away at sea for long periods, and today, once again, he was about to depart. While his father was chatting animatedly with his mother before leaving, he didn't notice little Tsubasa playing nearby. By the time he realized, Tsubasa was already gone. Fortunately, nothing bad happened to him. Otherwise, there would be no Tsubasa today. Suddenly, a loud truck horn blared as a massive truck came rushing toward little Tsubasa at a terrifying speed. At that critical moment, the soccer ball that Tsubasa was holding cushioned the impact with its elasticity, saving his life. From then on, Tsubasa and his soccer ball shared a bond stronger than life itself. They became sworn companions. That was the beginning of Tsubasa's unbreakable friendship with soccer. Today marked Tsubasa and his mother's first day moving to Nankatsu City. But instead of helping his mother with the move, Tsubasa immediately ran out excitedly with his dear friend, his soccer ball. He was thrilled. This beautiful city would be his new home. Although part of him was simply enjoying walking through the streets, his real goal was to visit Shutetsu Elementary School because he heard that many talented soccer players were there. After searching for a while without success, he stumbled upon a soccer field where two groups seemed to be arguing fiercely over the right to use the field. A boy named Arai led a group of older students to challenge Wakabayashi, who stood confidently, unafraid, and declared boldly, "No matter what sport you're good at, if you can throw the ball into my goal, I'll give up the field to you. From outside the penalty area, any ball, I am confident I can block it. If you want the field back, come and try to score past me." The upperclassman, feeling Wakabayashi was too arrogant, decided to teach him a lesson. First up was a player from the rugby team. Unlike soccer, rugby moves very differently, and even Wakabayashi didn't expect it. But with quick reflexes, he kicked the ball away with a single-footed move. Next came a handball player. Since a soccer goal is more than twice the size of a handball goal, the handball player was full of confidence. Yet Wakabayashi easily caught the ball with no problem. Then came a baseball player. Honestly, catching such a small ball should be tough, but Wakabayashi smashed expectations with his skills. Whether it was baseballs, basketballs, golf balls, or volleyballs, Wakabayashi caught them all effortlessly. Finally, a javelin thrower from the track and field club stepped up. Even though the javelin's tip was padded, it still carried a 5-star danger level. Despite this, Wakabayashi stood his ground, capable of kicking the ball from the mountaintop to a manor a kilometer away. Watching Wakabayashi's stunning performance, solo defending the goal without letting any ball pass through, Tsubasa witnessed everything. After Wakabayashi left, Tsubasa asked Arai who that amazing boy was and where he lived. Although surprised by Tsubasa's boldness, Arai decided to tell him. He led Tsubasa up a mountain and pointed to the most luxurious manor in the distance. That was Wakabayashi's home. Learning Wakabayashi's location, Tsubasa immediately got ready to warm up, ignoring anything Arai said. Holding the ball, Tsubasa started talking to it as if it were a close friend. Listening closely, Arai realized Tsubasa was actually having a conversation with his ball. Then, Tsubasa wrote a challenge letter on the ball and, without hesitation, prepared to kick it from the mountaintop straight toward Wakabayashi's house. Over at the manor, Wakabayashi caught the ball in confusion. When his coach asked what happened, Wakabayashi said the ball had flown all the way from the opposite mountain, and there was even a challenge note written on it. Meanwhile, Arai was dumbfounded. What kind of leg strength could do something like that? Just then, a stranger arrived at Wakabayashi's house. Coach Kanzaki was about to call the police when Robert said, "I'm not a bad person. I chased this ball all the way here from the mountain." Hearing this, Coach Kanzaki finally believed that the ball really had flown from so far away. Wakabayashi guessed that the person who kicked the ball must be young because the handwriting was so ugly. On the other side, Arai, realizing how strong Tsubasa was, immediately tried to stick close to him, hoping that once Tsubasa beat Wakabayashi, he could help Arai reclaim the soccer field from his father. Wakabayashi, carrying the ball, walked home deep in thought, too curious about who had kicked the ball. Meanwhile, Coach Kanzaki found Robert's face familiar but couldn't recall from where. At that moment, on opposite sides of the street, Wakabayashi and Tsubasa encountered each other by pure chance. Tsubasa, holding the ball, called out, and upon hearing Tsubasa's words, Wakabayashi was stunned. Could such a small, delicate-looking boy really have kicked such a powerful ball? Wakabayashi couldn't accept it and kicked the ball forcefully toward Tsubasa, determined to test him. Tsubasa easily flicked the ball into the air and executed a graceful kip-up. "Stop! You're going to crash into the bus," shouted someone. But Tsubasa called out firmly, "You must accept my challenge." Wakabayashi looked serious and asked, "Are you Tsubasa Ozora?" Tsubasa smiled and confirmed, "Yes, I am Tsubasa Ozora." This moment was an epic play, the debut of the famous bicycle kick in the world of Captain Tsubasa. Wakabayashi gladly accepted, but not in a one-on-one match. Instead, he proposed that Tsubasa compete against the entire Shutetsu team, although they were considered Shutetsu's second-tier players. As the saying goes, many fists can beat even a master, meaning sheer numbers could win the day. Even facing this unfair matchup, Tsubasa happily agreed and headed to the field where everyone was already geared up. That's when Arai noticed something. Tsubasa was wearing ordinary sneakers instead of soccer cleats. Wearing shoes like that would surely cause him to slip while playing. Wakabayashi ordered someone to bring spare cleats for Tsubasa, not out of kindness, but because he didn't want Tsubasa to later blame his loss on bad footwear. As usual, before the match, Tsubasa took a moment to talk with his ball, treating it like a trusted comrade. The Shutetsu players stared at him like he was a weirdo. Sensing Tsubasa's aura growing stronger through his conversation with the ball, Wakabayashi hurriedly ordered his team to attack and steal the ball before Tsubasa could fully warm up. As a swarm of players rushed at him, Tsubasa remained calm and composed. The hunt began. In an instant, Tsubasa moved with a speed like the wind, the ball sticking to his feet as if it were glued. He easily dodged wave after wave of defenders. The spectators' faces shifted from shock to disbelief, while Tsubasa's face carried nothing but a pure, joyful smile. For him, playing football with brothers like these was pure happiness. Watching from the sidelines, Robert was stunned. Whether dribbling or passing, Tsubasa demonstrated skills far beyond his age. Nearing the penalty area, Wakabayashi commanded all defenders to attack at once. Facing a wall of players, Tsubasa gracefully jumped with the ball, then unleashed a powerful header toward the goal. Wakabayashi reacted instantly, catching the ball single-handedly, but the ball's spinning force was too strong, slipping from his grip and slamming into the goalpost before flying away. Robert threw away the bottle in his hand and dashed toward the ball excitedly. Seeing this, Coach Kenzaki finally remembered where he had seen Robert before. He was Robert Hongo, the former striker of the Brazilian national team. Robert delivered a mighty cross into the field, setting up the play for a goal. In the end, Tsubasa's superior skills led him to score successfully. Then, an unexpected accident happened. Due to inertia, both he and Wakabayashi couldn't stop themselves, and Wakabayashi's head crashed heavily into the goalpost. Out of kindness, Tsubasa rushed over to ask if he was okay, but Wakabayashi angrily pushed him away, burning with shame and fury. Last year, Wakabayashi had maintained a perfect record of no goals conceded, but now he had been scored on by a tiny newcomer. He refused to accept it, declaring that today's match didn't count because it wasn't an official game. Wakabayashi challenged Tsubasa again. Next time, they would meet in a formal tournament, and the real challenge would be whether anyone could score against him at all. This marked the glorious first appearance of the bicycle kick, a move that would become legendary in Captain Tsubasa's world. Although it would later be seen everywhere, witnessing its debut was truly thrilling. Wakabayashi and Tsubasa agreed to face each other officially during the upcoming inter-school tournament. Until then, the soccer field would temporarily be left to Arai's group. Curious, Tsubasa asked Arai what Wakabayashi meant by inter-school tournament. Arai explained that in this city, Nankatsu and Shutetsu elementary schools were fierce rivals. Shutetsu's soccer team was a powerhouse. All the good players gathered there, while Nankatsu was considered weak. Every year, an inter-school sports festival was held, more popular than even the city's sports day. Every club, baseball, basketball, track, would face off. Only the Nankatsu soccer club was consistently crushed by Shutetsu. But now, with Tsubasa's arrival, everyone believed the outcome might change. That's when Robert decided it was time to step in. Even without introducing himself, Tsubasa recognized him immediately from football magazines. Robert proposed that before the inter-school tournament, he would serve as the temporary coach for Nankatsu's soccer team. Tsubasa didn't mind, but Arai found it ridiculous. How could a drunkard coach them? Just because he made one impressive pass didn't mean much. To prove himself, Robert decided to show his skills. In a flash, he stole the ball from Tsubasa, elegantly juggling it, then aimed at a distant goalpost and smashed the ball hard against it. This dazzling display made everyone realize Robert's strength. Inspired by Robert's earlier bicycle kick, Tsubasa couldn't help but want to learn it too. But bicycle kicks were advanced techniques, not something one could master easily. Still, Tsubasa didn't give up. He had an unyielding spirit. Whatever soccer skills others had, he was determined to learn them as well. Even if it took countless failures, he would keep trying until he succeeded. True mastery comes from countless hours of effort. As the sun began to set, Tsubasa was still practicing. After countless attempts, he decided to try one last time. He first chatted with his ball, building their bond, and then, their synergy soaring, he finally performed a successful bicycle kick. This marked Tsubasa's first match after arriving in Nankatsu City. After intercepting the ball, instead of launching an attack immediately, he surprisingly ran toward his own goal. Reaching the penalty area, he unleashed a mighty kick that sent the ball soaring across the entire field and straight into the opponent's goal, leaving the goalkeeper with no time to react. This was a practice match between Nankatsu and Nishikyu, but the story actually began that morning when Tsubasa, to his surprise, found Robert sitting in his home. Shocked, Tsubasa's mother handed him a letter from his father, which Robert had brought. In the letter, Tsubasa's father explained that Robert was a professional football player who, for some reason, could no longer play and would be staying in Japan. He asked Robert to help take care of his wife and son during his absence. And so, the three of them shared a lively breakfast together, feeling like a real family. Apparently, Robert had a arrived late last night. At first, not knowing who he was, Tsubasa's mother had mistaken him for a thief and even drenched him with a bucket of water. If Robert had just shown the letter earlier, all the trouble could have been avoided. After breakfast, Tsubasa headed to the soccer field to meet his teammates, with Robert promising to join later due to some business. While waiting, Tsubasa and the team started warming up. That's when a group of uninvited guests arrived. They were players from Nishikyu Elementary, claiming they were here for the scheduled practice match. Arai was utterly confused until Robert showed up and admitted that he had invited Nishikyu to challenge them. Seeing that Nankatsu was being coached by a so-called drunkard, Nishikyu's players sneered openly, showing complete disdain. Tsubasa heard their mockery and was furious, but chose not to respond with words. He would let his performance do the talking. The match began with Nishikyu launching the first attack. They were decent, and against Nankatsu's group of misfits, they appeared confident and dominant. Just as they were about to take a shot, Tsubasa swooped in like a flash, stealing the ball cleanly. Then, he brought it all the way back to his own goal area, and without hesitation, unleashed a thunderous shot that traveled the entire field, scoring cleanly. From that moment, the match turned into Tsubasa's personal show. Like an unbreakable wall, he defended fiercely but didn't hog the ball. He created opportunities for his teammates. Receiving a pass from Tsubasa, Arai feinted skillfully, creating an opening and scoring a goal. With Tsubasa's presence, the entire team's attitude shifted. Gone was their previous hopelessness, replaced by a burning desire to win. Nishikyu tried sending their best defenders against Tsubasa, but with a masterful cross, he set up Arai for another perfect header, landing yet another goal. Nankatsu was on fire, and the players felt a camaraderie they had never experienced before. In the stands, a tomboyish girl who usually acted tough saw Tsubasa for the first time and immediately turned shy, a blush creeping across her face. At school the next day, Arai boasted to his classmates about their match, but no one believed there could be someone as good as he described. That's when they spotted Tsubasa, walking towards school with his ball, his clean face and confident aura sparking admiration. Meanwhile, the long-awaited inter-school tournament between Shutetsu and Nankatsu was drawing near. Both schools were practicing intensively for the big event. It would be their 26th annual showdown. Historically, the rivalry stood at 12 wins each and 1 draw, meaning this match would be the true tiebreaker. At home, Tsubasa's mother, while cleaning, accidentally found Robert's hospital diagnosis letter. Reading it, she learned the heartbreaking truth. Robert had severe retinal damage, and if he continued playing, he risked permanent blindness. That's why he had decided to retire from professional football. Maybe when he returned to Brazil, he wouldn't be going alone anymore. Perhaps he'd have a new family to bring with him. Meanwhile, back on the field, Robert assigned a tough training task before the inter-school tournament. Tsubasa had to face the entire Nankatsu team alone in a 5-minute challenge. If Tsubasa could steal the ball and score within 5 minutes, he would win. Otherwise, the others would win. As soon as the timer started, Tsubasa snatched the ball effortlessly and began dribbling, weaving through his teammates with lightning-quick, fluid movements. They couldn't even touch the ball. One by one, wave after wave, Tsubasa broke through their defense, dazzling everyone with his skills and igniting their fighting spirit. Robert had designed this match on purpose, knowing it would make them stronger. As Tsubasa neared the goal, he lifted his foot and shot the ball with incredible speed, scoring with ease before the goalkeeper could even react. Seeing Tsubasa's striking figure, the tough girl from school, her cheeks reddening again, was completely smitten. After an exhausting day of training, everyone was drained. Everyone except Tsubasa, who was still energetic and lively. Robert emphasized that to win the tournament, they had to become friends with the ball, meaning they had to spend time with it constantly and treat it like a companion. Hearing this, the team finally understood why Tsubasa was so close to his soccer ball. It wasn't just practice, it was friendship. From that day forward, everyone started their own painful journey to bond with the ball. Though it seemed simple in theory, it proved grueling in reality. The ball didn't cooperate easily, and their frustration mounted. Yet this was the beginning of unbreakable partnerships that would define their future. Every morning, Robert personally trained Tsubasa, taking him on rigorous runs before the sun rose. Returning home one morning, Robert quietly asked Tsubasa's mother if she had seen the medical diagnosis. Embarrassed, she nodded, but Robert simply smiled and said it was fine. He only asked her to keep it secret from Tsubasa. The rest of the team continued struggling to bond with their soccer balls, facing endless stumbles and mistakes. One player even tried to take a shortcut around the training stairs, but learned that sometimes even detours have their own lessons. One afternoon, while eavesdropping on Shutetsu Elementary's practice match against Suigetsu Elementary, the Nankatsu players were stunned by Shutetsu's strength. Even without Wakabayashi on the field, Shutetsu played brilliantly, thanks to their 4 heavenly kings: Takasugi, the mighty defender; Kaneshiro, the commanding midfielder; Ryuichi, the king of assists; and finally, Raidze, the top striker. These 4 formed an unstoppable team, which helped Shutetsu dominate nationally. Meanwhile, Wakabayashi was enduring grueling personal training at home, swearing that that in the upcoming inter-school match, he would never allow Tsubasa to score. On the other side, Tsubasa continued to hone his skills with Robert's tough training, showing no signs of slowing down. Even the usually scatterbrained players of Nankatsu, inspired by Tsubasa's passion, committed themselves to hard work without complaints. Each player's ball control, stamina, and technical ability improved rapidly under Robert's relentless drills. Before they knew it, the day of the big inter-school showdown had arrived. By then, the Nankatsu players could dribble all the way to school without losing the ball, a small but powerful symbol of their growth. The atmosphere of the tournament was electrifying, and even other sports clubs in Nankatsu were energized by the soccer team's transformation. As the match neared, Robert decided to give Tsubasa one last special training: goalkeeper training. Although Tsubasa usually dominated as a forward, Robert wanted him to experience what it felt like to defend, believing that only by truly understanding goalkeeping could Tsubasa learn to shoot with deadly precision. Facing Robert's merciless shots, Tsubasa barely reacted in time, getting battered but learning invaluable lessons. One evening, after an intense day of training, as Tsubasa and Robert walked home, they happened to encounter a father and son duo, a meeting that would later shock the entire nation, as this was the first encounter between the future golden duo. Meanwhile, despite successfully saving a goal, Wakabayashi wasn't happy. Instead, he looked furious. Today was the day of the long-awaited showdown between Nankatsu and Shutetsu, and every sport had its own events, but the soccer match was scheduled as the grand finale. Tsubasa and the team decided to watch other matches to kill time, where they discovered that the Nankatsu track team was in trouble. Their sprinter had gotten injured. Just as the race was about to start, a soccer ball rolled onto the track, and surprisingly, Tsubasa stepped in to replace the injured runner. Instead of simply running, Tsubasa dribbled the soccer ball down the track while racing, and still outran the other competitors. It was astonishing. He was faster while dribbling than others were sprinting normally. Needless to say, he easily won the 200-meter race, claiming another victory for Nankatsu. But returning to the main event, the soccer showdown was finally about to begin. The stadium was packed, and the Nankatsu players, unused to such a grand crowd, looked visibly nervous. In contrast, Shutetsu's players appeared calm and composed. Tsubasa scanned the field, but didn't see Wakabayashi. Just as disappointment began to creep in, Wakabayashi appeared from the stands, a little late, but never one to miss such a battle. At this point, the scores in other events were tied between the two schools, meaning that whoever won the soccer match would claim overall victory. At the same time, a new student named Takeshi, also known as Big Wolf, arrived, hoping to join Nankatsu. Upon learning everyone was at the match, he hurried over. When he finally found the stadium, he was immediately fascinated by the sight of Tsubasa, the kid he had seen dribbling so skillfully the day before. As the soccer match was about to start, Wakabayashi issued simple instructions to his team. Focus only on Tsubasa. Don't bother about the other players. They're not a threat. But could they really afford to ignore the rest? Just before kickoff, Shutetsu's players realized something odd. Arai was playing as striker, while Tsubasa had taken a defensive position. Although the Nankatsu players had undergone rigorous training for weeks, the pressure of a formal match made them stiff. Shutetsu launched an immediate attack, with Kaneshiro making a long pass to Ryuichi, who then set up Raize for a shot. Just as Raize was about to score, Tsubasa executed a perfect sliding tackle, stealing the ball. Shutetsu tried to pressure Tsubasa, but their attacks were child's play against his sharp instincts and flawless ball control. Despite being hailed as the four heavenly kings, the Shutetsu players couldn't even maintain possession against him. After stealing the ball, Tsubasa made a long pass to Arai, who successfully received it and charged into the penalty area, lifting his foot for a shot. Wakabayashi, watching from the goal, felt insulted. He had taken Tsubasa's challenge seriously, but now Tsubasa was playing defense, leaving the offensive work to weaker players. Fueled by this anger, Wakabayashi vowed that even if Shutetsu scored 50 goals today, it wouldn't matter. What mattered was not letting Tsubasa score. At first, Tsubasa stuck to defense, blocking Shutetsu's repeated attacks one after another. Each time, he disrupted their plays with impeccable timing. Honestly, it felt like Nankatsu didn't even need a goalkeeper, except for the great Morisaki, who tried his best. Spectators started whispering, amazed by Tsubasa's defensive prowess, but one sharp-eyed coach observed that Tsubasa wasn't a natural defender. His instincts screamed striker. Every movement he made, every judgment about the ball's trajectory revealed an aggressive nature. As the game continued, Shutetsu remained on the attack. Even though Tsubasa intercepted multiple times, Raize eventually managed to regain possession, charging toward the goal. But passing through Tsubasa was a fool's dream. Once again, he intercepted cleanly and launched a powerful kick toward midfield. Arai received the ball and charged forward, but Wakabayashi personally intervened, stealing it back. Interestingly, instead of passing to a teammate, Wakabayashi kicked the ball directly toward Tsubasa, a clear sign that he had accepted Tsubasa's earlier challenge head-on. Tsubasa caught the ball, hesitated for a moment, then launched into an aggressive advance, ignoring team team orders. Robert and his father both watched silently, understanding that Tsubasa's true nature was all about fearless offense. His style wasn't to sit back, it was to charge forward relentlessly, like a wild stallion. Shutetsu's defenders tried blocking him, but Tsubasa weaved through effortlessly, carving a path all the way to the edge of the penalty area. From a tricky angle, he unleashed a powerful shot. Wakabayashi, fully focused, leapt high and managed to get a hand on it, but the ball's spin was too fierce. Though he deflected it onto the goalpost, the danger remained. Tsubasa went to take the resulting corner kick. Wakabayashi guessed that Tsubasa might attempt a direct shot, and as Tsubasa sent the ball flying, Wakabayashi rushed out early to intercept. But then the ball, mid-flight, took a sharp curve. Caught off guard by the sudden swerve, Wakabayashi lunged desperately but missed. Yet fate played a cruel trick. The ball bounced off the post and narrowly missed scoring. Tsubasa had still failed to score against Wakabayashi, and frustration slowly gnawed at him. The first half ended with both teams locked at 0-0. Although Tsubasa hadn't followed the original defensive strategy, Robert wasn't upset. Instead, he agreed with Tsubasa's father. Soccer was a game that demanded individual judgment and spontaneous decisions. From now on, Tsubasa would be encouraged to trust his instincts and attack whenever he felt the chance was right. Meanwhile, the Shutetsu team looked visibly drained, lacking the energy they had at the start. After the halftime break, the second half kicked off, and Shutetsu's players came out with a renewed fiery spirit. They charged forward like tigers, desperate to break the deadlock. Rise received a pass and immediately prepared to shoot, but the Nankatsu goalkeeper barely managed to deflect it out of bounds. Shutetsu earned a corner kick, and just as Ryuichi lined up to take it, Wakabayashi surprised everyone by sprinting forward from his own goal. Without hesitation, Ryuichi passed the ball to Wakabayashi, who unleashed a powerful shot. To everyone's astonishment, it was the goalkeeper himself who scored the opening goal. With that 1 point, Shutetsu took the lead. Encouraged by their advantage, Shutetsu considered using the time-wasting birdcage tactic, where they would endlessly pass the ball to drain the clock. However, Wakabayashi rejected the idea. Instead of stalling, he wanted to crush Nankatsu completely by scoring again, pushing their opponents into utter despair. The match resumed, and Tsubasa led Nankatsu's attack, dribbling furiously toward Shutetsu's goal. Although Shutetsu's defenders tried to stop him, Tsubasa and Big Wolf, with their brilliant chemistry, rendered the defense helpless. Tsubasa sent a powerful cross toward the sideline, and the Nankatsu team launched a fierce passing assault. Wakabayashi, sharp as ever, realized that no matter how much they passed, the final shot would come from either Tsubasa or Big Wolf. As expected, the ball was passed forward, and before Tsubasa's fourth state, Big Wolf dazzled the crowd with his superb ball control, weaving through defenders with elegance and power. With only 3 minutes left in the match, Nankatsu still trailed by 1 goal. Big Wolf charged forward with the ball, Tsubasa shadowing him closely. This was their final chance. As they neared the goal, Big Wolf suddenly urged the match would be declared a draw. Shutetsu desperately tried to score, but Rise's hurried shot was blocked. Tsubasa pounced, fought fiercely, who was already sprinting toward the goal. Wakabayashi charged out to intercept. Both Tsubasa and Wakabayashi jumped into the air. It was a breathtaking scene, the final showdown of the move. The match ended in a 2-2 draw. Though there was no clear winner, the spirit of friendship and sportsmanship filled the stadium, with waves of cheers from the crowd for both teams. After the match, Wakabayashi and Tsubasa, now respecting each other as rivals, promised to face each other again someday in an even greater battle. The very next morning, Tsubasa was already out on the field practicing when Arai came rushing over with exciting news. The next step was the national tournament, and Nankatsu would be forming a special selection team. Unlike Pru and Nankatsu, once fierce rivals, would now have to unite. Meanwhile, Robert made a heartfelt request to Tsubasa's parents. He wanted to return to Brazil, but he didn't want to go alone. Elsewhere, while the latest football magazine in the mail. Flipping through it casually, he was stunned. Something he saw immediately made him dash off to the field, desperate to find Robert. When he arrived, completely unaware, was confused. Hearing that Robert could no longer play professionally, Tsubasa was shocked and to go to Brazil with Robert. But before that, there was still one more important task: to face the Nankatsu selection trials. The tryouts were brutal for everyone, but celebration was short-lived. They knew the hardest cuts were still ahead. Determined to survive the next elimination, the players threw themselves into brutal self-imposed training regimens. Meanwhile, although Robert was coaching Tsubasa and Big Wolf every day, his heart was heavy with worry, unsure whether taking Tsubasa away from his family was truly the right thing to do. At night, he would quietly ask Tsubasa's mother if she would feel lonely once both her husband and son were gone. But she always smiled warmly and said, "It's okay, just take care of Tsubasa. I can take care of myself."